Okay, this is my third attempt to get this done. I am now poor wireless connection. I moved to a better location. I have to confront this Freemason issue I was confronted with, completely uninvited. Okay, that they had put their nose and hands, their filthy hands, into future end time and our lifetime prophecies, and had basically told me that they had ruined my life before I was born. And then sit there and wanted me to laugh about it as if it were a joke. Okay, I must have been like 5 years old, so I'm like brought into a Masons meeting, and they're just bragging about, you're going to be this, and the prophet says you're going to be this. But we screwed this up, and then you're the only one of these rulers whose wives we ruined and killed, and this one's doing this, and this one we're going to do this too. Then they wanted me to laugh about it. I'm like, seriously? I'm like, you really want me to laugh about this? Then it was like, oh, you don't think it's funny. So then it was like, well, everybody always laughs. All the guys laugh. I'm like, I don't find it funny. So then my memory tells me they even told me the harm that they were going to do to Scarlett as a joke. That they foresaw and already knew she was going to do the movie Black Widow, and that she would finish and then find out that they had her under mind control. It was like their rotten joke. And I'm like, about to freaking kill these dudes. I was only 4 or 5 years old though. So it was like, I'm basically, it's like you're dead. You know how the Masons are, they'll freaking kill you. So I'm like marked for death since I'm like 5 years old by the Masons. Okay. And that was even before that, the mess I had to live through in Philadelphia. Okay. Because just, I'm 5 years old, I'm not feeling it. You know, this is the thing. The Masons do a Vormir as part of their process of who they are. The Vormir is this. They sacrifice character for charisma. Okay. They have a bottomless pit of charisma. Okay. But they also have a bottomless pit of a lack of character. The biblical description of it is feeding yourself without a qualm. There's a reason why it's like we're so offended and concerned about charismatic leaders. Because usually in American history, too many are known like Falwell, Baker, people that are frauds. Because they use it, it's a Vormir used in place of character. Well, once again, it's something like being exotic is icing on the cake of being erotic. Things I've talked about. Being sensual, the icing on the cake of being sexual. It's another problem. But once again is, as I said, I've had to fight through working with runes, mysticism, and get my head out from all this mind control. Okay? Because there's something that I had to suffer through a lot of rotten jokes too. But they literally told me I was the only one of the listed rulers of the Pax Romana whose wives or girlfriends were harmed. And they wanted me to laugh about it because they have this bottomless pit of charisma. So when I embarrassed them by giving them the opposite reaction, when they would tell me about the rotten joke they did to Scarlett with, yeah, she'll finish this movie as a savior and then find out she's under mind control. I'm like, that's really not funny. So then I'm under further mind control. I can tell you that I probably, at least as a little kid, I had to fight through, and I've been put under at least 2 or 3 mind control sessions. They actually used to put us black kids under mind control on the 2nd floor of Asher's Candies, right at Armad in Germantown, because they used to brag it used to be a fully Jewish candy company, and they just went in and killed everybody, and just took it over because Asher is the name of a tribe of Israel. So that used to be their joke. So the upstairs, it was the mind control police where I had to go. I remember I got put under mind control twice at least. But like I said, this is the kind of stuff I've had to live through. And that's why I would say Scarlett Johansson's not to blame. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. Before we go any further, it's not her fault. And it wasn't my fault. And I've had to fight and wrestle my way out of its mind control. It has to be put on blast, okay? I'm not going to be afraid of the Masons. They couldn't stand me because they thought I was going to fear them. I'm like, no, we're just going to be rumbling. It's going to be Infinity War Endgame because they're yoked up with the dark side, with all the evil spirits. And like I said, most of the spirits they worship, I've killed them. Okay? So you guys are with the Josts. And that shows their phoniness. They're always getting married. They're always on top. They always got the white women or whoever women. But on the down low, they're with the Josts. To have killed 1 trillion superior sea women like Scarlett Johansson in the universe. They are the bane of the universe. And they're cowardly. They exploit and they deceptive, but they work with human race people, which I think is foolishness. Why would any race tolerate your superior sea women being murdered? You know what the problem is? I've seen a death porn film. There are men that watch these films that get their rocks off on watching superior sea women being murdered by Joes. I've seen full films of sick act after sick act of appalling act of murder by these Joes demons, murdering superior sea women. Outrageous, and worse yet, it's something like popular among circles. That's something that's circulated. Yeah, this shit actually happens. These actual demons, okay, that aren't even from our planet, that didn't even rise and fall here. Our planet was meant for Earth, for humans, okay? This is what the Masons connect with, and they did this shit like it's a fucking joke. And when I didn't laugh, it's like, okay, then you're a wacko, because you don't catch our charisma, okay? Martin Luther King was killed. Why? Because he wouldn't accept the Masons Vormir of what? Exchanging character for charisma. So you want to fall into the bottomless pit, the Vormir of charisma, but by the internal exchanges, you're sacrificing character. Okay? It's like you just choose to be a master pimp and a player and a slick ass nigga. Okay? So they don't have any conscience. Feeding yourself without a qualm. So they're clueless when they tell me all this stuff and laugh, and I'm not amused. Because they have no character. Not amused. And that's when I was 4 or 5. I'm still finding my way, and I feel I'm getting to the point where I'm getting a grip on the facts, and I'm letting you know what I went through that they insisted on suppressing the reality of, okay? And I'll say, oh, you would not believe how many death attempts I went through just in Philly before I was 8 at the hands of the U.S. government and the local government. You wouldn't believe it. As a child, okay? And how many people I saw die that were taxpayer citizens at the hands of the cops, the teachers, the government that they paid to protect, that were paying them to protect, that vowed to protect them. You would not believe the unapologetic, shameless, fuck you in your face betrayal that I saw and lived through going on in Philadelphia by the government and rulers on your own citizens that you swore and vow on Bibles to protect and serve and honor their rights. You would not believe the degree of betrayal and how unconscionable people were about it. No remorse, no sorrow, just absolute Judas Iscariot all over the place with, so what? What's your fucking problem? You know? We do this all the time. You know? Outrageous betrayal in Philadelphia. Not just blacks, whites, all of them. You would not believe the stuff I saw go on from the late 60s or so. And then films, even worse nationwide. Outrageous. Absolute lack of conscience. Why? Because you Masons reject character. It's a part of your process because it means you can just charisma your way to the top. Okay? It makes you a group of false prophets. Okay? That Vormir you're headed to is the abyss. You men are wandering Quarks from the blackness of darkness from reserved forever. You Freemasons are cursed children, okay? You're headed for the hottest hellfire. You're going to burn in the hottest hellfire forever. All you Freemasons, you will burn in the hottest hellfire, okay? Because the sorrows you put us blacks in with, because it just means you're a bunch of fork-tongued, slick-ass, talk shit bullshitters, okay? You sacrifice character for charisma, and it's done deliberately. That's the Freemason way, and that's why we have a government that's unconscionable and just as slick and political about constantly keeping the power, okay? So I'm putting y'all on blast straight the fuck up, okay? Y'all know, you men are cursed and doomed. You Freemasons are absolutely doomed, okay? You're phonies, you're two-faced, and you're absolutely anathema. You're bloody doomed, bloody damned, bloody accursed, and bloody anathema.